Welcome back, everybody. It is the next day. It's March 12th, and we're gonna head out. We've got a lot of antlers we gotta match up. It's unbelievable we haven't ran into some of these yet, but we're gonna start filling in the gaps on my Onyx track. These are all the matches we have. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 matching sets. These are all the ones we still need to match, including our biggest ones here. Bunch of little ones we found. And then these are ones that we're not going to match because the neighbor found the other side to that one. This one only had one side all the way from velvet, and that's obviously the only side he had. And then this buck was a buck that I call Scar. And the neighbor found his other side last year. So those three I know we're not going to be matching. But all these ones I believe are still out there somewhere. And I'd really like to match those big ones up because those are going to be deer that we're going to be hunting next year. So we're going to get our stuff around and get after it. Well, we're back after it. We're starting right here in the food plot. There's a bunch of area that's melted now that previously wasn't. So we're just going to kind of go through here and comb over areas I had walked that are now melted. I'd be lying to you if I told you I wasn't feeling it. I'm averaging like 4.2 miles every day after work this week, and boy, I'm sore. Not used to walking this much, obviously, but feels really good to get out here and really move around and stay active. Here's a example of some hinge cutting that didn't work as planned. I wanted to cut that so it would stay alive a little bit on the ground and continue to grow. I didn't leave enough of it though, it died. So it didn't work as I was hoping it would. I like looking at all these little hummocks down here because the deer bed right in them. I'll turn you on if I come across anything. I really want to match that big one. I'm pretty positive his antler's not far from right here. But in some cases, these suckers end up going a long ways to drop the other side. In other cases, they drop them right next to each other, so you really just never know. Overcast days tend to be much better days to be looking in corn for sheds. You know, the corn's not really shining in the light when it's overcast like this. If I find a horn, I'll show you what I mean. Is they seem to be just easier to see when it's not sunny out. Geez, there's a whole stinking ear of corn. I bet there's a bunch of deer that would have loved to have found that this winter. Probably buried under a bunch of snow. Well, I just grid searched the corn with snow in it. Never found a single shed in there. Just crazy. If you would have said that if you would have told me that I wouldn't find one shed in that corn this spring, I would have told you you're nuts. But I didn't find one shed in there. Really surprising to me. Shocking. Well, folks, we just matched up Blackie. That is awesome. This is one I really wanted to find. I'm right here in this swampy mess in between. There's pines on each side of me, and this is just a big swale hole that goes out to the main swamp. And if you go right down this drainage, you go right out to the food plots. And Blackie was bouncing from the old garden plot to the main plot, back and forth through here. And I found his one shed laying right on the edge of the food plot early you know, one of the first ones I actually found. It was laying right in the snow in the food plot. And this one had proven to be really difficult to find. But we found it. It's laying right here. Right in the water. That's a buck that I had numerous encounters with, right over here and over here. He's all black for the most part. It's a really unique deer. Everybody that's been following the channel throughout the hunting season, I'm sure, had seen me see him, or had seen him on my videos. I'm gonna get a picture of it before I pick it up here. Awesome. Well, we matched up one of them. Here we go. Sweet. Well, now we need the heavy 8 and the heavy 8 and then the big 8-point that was all busted up. Let's go. Well, I'm walking the edge of this swale hole right here, and I see an antler at eye level up here. And this is actually the match to the buck I found, or the antler I found yesterday over in the wet spot. There it is right there. This is that buck that he's got 4 on the other side, and he shed late. This antler hasn't been on the ground too long. Sweet. Matched him up. We've matched 2 of them now. Still no luck on the big guy. The one we really want here. We're gonna keep after it, and it's be the easiest horn to see. Let's keep after it. Guess what, everybody? Just came across the match to the big heavy 8, which is the horn that I wanted more than anything in here. And I had walked right by this numerous times. I don't know how I never saw it. But it just goes to show you gotta go back over the same areas that you've been, because I've 100% walked by this. I'm right here in between the 2 food plots. The corn plot is right over there, and then the old garden plot is right there. There's a swale hole that goes right here between the 2 pines, and right there lays the other side to the heavy 8. Man, look at that. There's our fence right there. This is an old heifer pasture. Unbelievable, right on this trail. I don't know how I didn't see this before. There's numerous times that I walked right through, not over this specific spot, but right up through there. I just never saw it. Yes. That is awesome. So I matched up that 2-year-old, matched up the buck that I call Blackie, and just matched up the heavy 8. The other buck that I really like to match up is that 4.5-year-old busted up buck, but I don't think that that one's kind of a long shot, because he would be here for 5 or 6 days, and then he'd disappear for a couple days, and then be back for 5 or 6 days and disappear for a few days. But it gives me hope that his other antler is here, because he dropped that antler right over here as well. So makes me think that he probably, there's a possibility he dropped that other horn over here somewhere, but who knows. I am pumped about this. Right on this trail right there, it crosses the fence. I'm gonna get a picture of this. Let's go ahead and pick this bad boy up. Man, look at that. Holy cow. Man, he's got some mass. Jeez. This horn isn't far at all from where the other one was. I overlooked for this, really. If I would have just stuck close to the food plots right here and just looked, you know, in all the places, you know, keep filling in my holes and my gaps in my track, I would have found this a lot sooner. Got a cool little thing at the base there. Hasn't been chewed on at all. There's that thing I'm talking about at the base. It's kind of cool. Bunch of junk coming out. His mass and his G3 right here is pretty crazy. His left side does the same thing. Yes. Well, I was just heading back to the Honda up here, and I just stumbled across last year's shed that I walked by numerous times. In fact, when I was talking to you guys on the beginning or earlier on today, I was walking right down this path. And if you look, right there is last year's shed. And I already know what buck this is. This was a 2-year-old last year that spent a lot of time right in these food plots, and he actually got killed this year. He's really recognizable with that end of that tip that bends down like that. He actually shed really late last year. So what's cool is this buck actually ran with this buck last year, and they ran together this year until he was shot. So these two bucks were actually buddies and were always together last year as 2-year-olds, and then, you know, this year they were together all the time as 3-year-olds till this guy got shot, and then this guy was on his own. But pretty darn cool. Another one I can't believe. Well, I didn't find it last year because it shed so late. Last year was such a mild winter, a lot of these bucks held on really late, all the way to March even. So that's pretty cool to find, you know, this one from last year, and then I found Scar from last year. Scar was killed this year as well. So pretty darn cool. We're just finding antlers all over the place right now. Mission accomplished.
Nice.
How excited does that make you?
Well, if they're going on my dining room table, 0.
Feel how thick that thing is.
Mm-hmm. Scout, you want it?
No.
She probably couldn't even carry it.
No, she picked up the other one. Scout. That's not for you.
Okay, let's get that before you poke yourself in the eye. Thank you. Good girl.